of the meeting. That is a whole lot already. That is no more like the regular, So
Yeah.
networking should go beyond just what we think it should be. It should be about building mentorship, collaboration, career advancement, and everything that
Oh, you remember the
women should begin to look out for. So for me, networking should be something that is valuable between the both of us. It shouldn't just be a one-sided thing. I'm trying not to read. I'm trying not to read from my slides. I'm trying to be real here. Let's just say it the way it's supposed to be. Let it just look like, okay, we are discussing what do we think networking should be.
right.
What should be the best approach towards networking? So
Mhm.
for me, networking should be real, should be genuine. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be because, oh, there's something this person has for me. That is why I am going close. No.
Right.
It should
A lot
be
of people believe that, okay, I just for opportunity, let me just look for someone that will help me.
yes, and that's the
Right.
mindset that most of us have.
Very
And I
wrong
think
mindset.
we should
Very
begin to
wrong.
shift from that mindset and
Yeah.
begin to think, what value should I bring to the table now? Now that we
Right.
have networked, now
Mm,
that we are now here together, what should I bring in? What am
mm.
I bringing to the table?
All right.
Not just me thinking about what I'm getting from Dami. Do you
All
understand? So
right.
networking is more than just exchanging pleasantries, exchanging business card. It should be
Right.
more about building meaningful relationships.
So let's talk about how about those that are struggling with how to network, because now we've talked about the mindset that people should have in terms of networking, but what about those that are struggling? Because there are lots of people that they go for an event and they stay in the back seats.
That's
They
true.
are the back seats and expecting that, oh, there should be a magic that would happen for them to be able to network. They don't even have the confidence, or they don't know how to even start a conversation. How about those people? Maybe we should talk about them a little. And probably if you were there once, because I've been there.
Of course, no, of course, of course,
I've been
of
there.
course,
I've been
of
there. So
course.
what were some of the things that you did before I talk about mine?
Okay. Yeah, for me, for that aspect, there are a lot of persons that have what we call self-doubt. There is this fear in them that they are not good enough. Even when they go for events, when they're in their house, they're indoors, they already envision what they're going to do when they get there. And immediately they get there, they see the stage, they begin to now look down on themselves that, oh, this is not I'm thinking I'm going to see people who are like me. I'm thinking I'm going to see, so they just begin to have this self-doubt. They begin to doubt themselves. Are you sure I'm good enough? Are you sure I could actually go and approach this person to talk to them? So for me, you have to build self-confidence. That's the truth.
Mhm.
You need to build your self-confidence if you want to be able to achieve
Mhm.
anything good in networking. You have to build self-confidence, because networking is about you stepping out there, either physical or even online networking. You
Online,
have to
right.
be there. You have to put yourself out there for people to even know that you exist. So if you're the kind of person that you're being held down with self-doubt, you need to now begin to develop strategies to help you overcome this self-doubt. Probably you have to now begin to believe more in yourself. For
Mm.
me, yes, I've been there. I've been at the point where I thought I wasn't good enough. I was scared to come out, to speak up. I was even looking at myself to be inferior to some people. I'm like, but at the time, I had to help myself out of that same situation, because the truth is, you have to still help yourself out of this situation. You have to be able to, acknowledge that, oh, okay, I know that I'm having this self doubt. Then you begin to look out for ways that you can begin to build back your self confidence. It could be listening to CDs, listening to YouTube, going online, and in your private time, listening to things that could motivate you and
Mhm.
that could help you to build back your self confidence. So for me, building self confidence is something that you need to be an effective networker.
Yeah, right. That's very, very important. And a lot of people actually struggle with that. A lot of professionals, a lot of women, a lot of men struggle with that. And that is
That's
why
true.
most of them at events, you see them sit behind and they
Yeah.
don't want to just connect with anybody because they are scared of even, they don't even know what to say. And I used to be there before, but there was a particular book that I read because mine wasn't so much of confidence issue. It was just like, how do I even start this conversation? I don't even know what I don't even know what to say to start a conversation in the first place. And I was like, now that I'm into self-development, I think I need to do something about this issue. And I read this
Of
book,
course.
How to Make Friends and Influence People. And that book
Oh,
literally
beautiful,
changed my life. I practice
beautiful. Darling,
everything that I saw in that book. And every time I practice
yeah.
it on people, I it's always
It
like, wow, are you serious? Is this what
works
it's
like
all
magic.
about?
Yes.
I never knew there was a science behind meeting people. There was a science behind
Networking. Yeah.
connecting with people until I
Yeah.
read that book, and that book just opened my eyes to a new, different dimension completely. I remember that
Yes.
there was a particular day I read a chapter in that book, and fortunately, I had a meeting in the church. I went to church that day, and there was this person sitting there. I've always seen her in the church, but I just mind my business and everybody just mind their business. But that day, I was like, I'm going to practice this thing that I've read. And I just went to her and I was like, oh, your earrings look so beautiful. I saw how I
Yeah.
was writing. I was like, ah!
Wow. It works. It was like
I was like,
magic.
sorry, this is all it's about, really. I know
Yeah.
giving people compliments, it really, really brightens
Yes.
people. It endears
Yes.
people towards you.
Yes.
So if you are someone
Yes.
struggling in that regard, giving people a compliment, just compliment them on something. It's not about, you are not being manipulative. We as
Yes.
human beings, most of the time when we see something beautiful or something good, we usually don't talk. It's usually when we see something negative, that is when we now, all hell will let loose, like.
Yes.
So
That's true.
after I read that book, I started intentionally commenting on anything good, even a stranger. At times, I'm driving on the road and I see something. I actually press the this thing. I'll be like, you look so beautiful.
Yes. Yes, of course.
You will see the person's face brighten up, and
Writing.
it will be like literally making that person's day, and it usually makes me happy. So that was one hack I got from that book. Another thing I got from that book was being a good listener. Most of the
Yes.
time when we get to meet people, we are usually
Actively.
like, oh, just want to talk about ourselves, talk about ourselves, talk about ourselves.
Ourselves, our focus. The
Oh
focus is
no,
on
that's
you
not the
alone.
way to connect. If you really want to connect with people and network properly, you should ask questions. Be curious about the person you want to meet. It makes them feel heard. It makes them feel special. It makes them
Exactly.
feel like, oh, there's still somebody in this world that really
Yeah.
wants to know about me. Really? So it usually changes the conversation completely. Imagine you now going for an event and doing these two things. I can
Yes.
promise you that you would make a friend from that place, even if
Yes.
just one person, because they will see you as a very kind, loving, a very good listener, and everybody just
Yes.
wants that kind of person around them.
Yes.
So
Yes.
um even if you don't do business together, you can make a very quality connection
Relationship.
with people
Yeah, of
in
course.
that
Of
way
course.
as well. So thank you so much, Blessing, for that. I don't know if you have any
You.
other tip for our people to.
Yes, of course. Yes, from that book by Dale Carnegie, How to Influence, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That book is one book that I recommend for everyone who's trying to learn how to network,
Right, yeah.
how to build relationships,
Mhm.
how to, how to make friends. From the book cover doesn't even really you could look at the book about you're like, I beg, what is this on how to make friends and influence people? But when you start reading that book, you discover that there is a whole lot on that book. That book helped me to understand that, like you said, the focus should not only be on me. Shift the focus to the other person. Make them feel valued. Make them feel welcome. Make them feel comfortable. Even, and even there
Are you there? Hi.
Recording in progress.
was it work? Hello, Coach Dami. Can you hear me?
I
Hello.
can hear you now. I can hear you now.
What was it? I that went off, or it was because I
I
discovered
think
I
it
was.
was you that went off. I didn't see you
Oh,
again.
oh, so sorry. I think my
Right.
network shut me out. So,
Yeah.
like I was saying, we need to be more patient with people if you want to be able to network with people properly. You need to know that everyone is not on the same pace where you are. So you need to try to
Right.
either sometimes come down to their level, listen to them, pay attention, even if what they are saying does not sound meaningful to you. It is still good. Courtesy demands that you allow them finish. You can praise them, then you can now begin to make your recommendation. So that book is one book that I really, really recommend for every professional business person. It even teaches you persuasion skills, how to persuade people, how to get what you want from people. So there is a whole lot there that one can, of course, learn from that book. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a life changer. I've read that book over and over, and I mean, I will never get tired of listening
Of
because I
reading
have
it,
a lot.
right?
I may not really carry the book to read, but while I'm driving, I'm listening to
Listening
the
to
book.
it, yeah,
So
right.
it
That's
helps
how I
me.
read as well,
It
most
goes,
of the
it goes
time.
into my system every day. I'm listening to it, and it's part of me already. So I recommend everyone to go get that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, especially
Right.
if you're learning how to network. It's a good one.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. So let's get down to okay. We've talked about the mindset, we've talked about how people should meet others. And now that you're meeting others, now professionally, um, there are lots of people that don't know how to pitch themselves. Like, okay, let me meet you. What do you do? And all of that. So people just say, oh, my name is Dami Oguntade, and I'm a purposeful brand coach and all that. And that is just how people just introduce themselves. And and that particular introduction doesn't always distinguish one most of the time, because when you're trying to network, you want something that would keep you at the minds of the people that you have met. That is one thing I have also learned, that how to make yourself memorable in the minds of people, that after that event they are still them when somebody asks them that who is that one person that you remember. If they can't remember everybody, they should be able to remember you.
Yes.
Not by you being all butterflies or jumping up and down and all that. But one thing I learned from one of my mentors is your dressing. and something should just stand out about you. It can be your
Okay.
glasses, it can be the way you speak, it can be you making sure that you contribute strategically to
Yes.
contributions or
Yes.
questions. Do you understand? It
Yes.
can be that, okay, your pitch would stand out so much that the person does not have any choice
Yes.
than to remember you for that particular pitch. Do you understand? And
Yeah.
that remembrance, I've kept it on my heart for a long time. Just like as I came here now, imagine if somebody were to think about this particular this thing, they might not remember anything, but they will remember that the lady was wearing a blue glasses, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That is something that I when I go for events, most of the time I try to probably buy a new glasses or something that will just stand out. It could be my hair, it could be when I find out that okay, there is nothing to really change or to really stand out. And I just make sure that I contribute in such a way. There was one event I went here in Abuja, Wimbi's event, and
Oh.
there was really nothing because everybody, big women and all of that, everybody was there. And there was no really special way you could stand out. And when it was the question and answer type period, I stood up and I asked the question. And
Good.
and the question I asked made everybody start asking that,
Staring at you. Yeah.
as in contributing, everybody, even at the end of the event, people had to collect my number that, oh,
Oh.
that, oh, this. You understand?
Hey. Hey.
Being
That is it.
strategic. You don't need
Yes.
to always go all out there to collect numbers and all that. That is
Yes.
good. It is important, you understand.
Yes.
But
Yes.
there are some
And
strategic ways to make yourself very memorable, because that
yes.
memorable would make people be like, out of all the crowd here, I think this woman, I can remember her. This man, I would always remember. Every time I remember this event, I would always remember this person. So
Okay.
that is also one thing I've learned in terms of networking with people as well. Standing out, making sure that your pitch, and in terms of that pitch, there was one particular pitch format I learned from Lisa Nichols on YouTube. And she was like, you should
Okay.
always talk about the problem first. And you now talk about how you solve it. Like, okay, let me introduce
Solution.
myself and I'll be like, okay, okay, someone says, can I meet you? And you'll be like, you know how so many women have lost their voice. Yes,
Yeah.
they've lost their voice. They don't even know where they stand anymore. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
what exactly I help people to do. I help women to gain to get clarity. I help women to
Yeah.
gain confidence, and I help them to gain authority so that they can be able to attract opportunities to themselves and own their voice and make sure that their voice is heard in the world. You understand? Do you
Yeah.
get a kind of introduction? You are not just an ordinary person anymore.
Yeah.
Position
Yeah.
yourself as a solution provider.
Yes.
You get
Yes.
that kind of, I can bet you that nobody else would ever introduce themselves that way.
Better than
Really,
you. Yeah.
even the normal one that everybody does is I help. Okay, people just start with, my name is Dami. I'm a purposeful brand coach. I help women to gain clarity, confidence, and authority, to hone their voice and attract opportunities. Do you get what I'm saying? Something like that. That's what people just do. Nobody talks about the problem first. So when I heard about it from her on YouTube, I was like, that's interesting, right? And
That's
I
good.
actually haven't used it, but there was a particular another YouTube video I was watching, and the person was like, you should make sure you position yourself as a solution provider, not just like every other person that came to
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
place. So it's there was even something else she added to it. She said you will now ask the person, do you know anybody suffering from this kind of problem? Like
Wow.
that's so hard.
Wow.
And that is
Wow.
so interesting. What do you have to say about
Yes,
the
very.
lesson?
Yes, for me, yeah. You have to grab the attention of your audience. Okay, talking about that. While you were speaking, I had something that came to my mind. I read a book by one of my mentors and a coach too, Omobabiri Adeola Oshideko. That's her name. She wrote a book titled Offline Connect. Offline Connect. It's an ebook, and when I read that book, she actually spoke about how, in fact, she spoke about the minutest things about networking. She didn't go all the glamorous part of it. She went into the details of it. She was like, now you're going for an event, and there is someone whom you are already programming you want to meet. Probably among the speakers there's someone whom you see that is being invited for that event, and this person is someone that you've been looking out to meet, and this person is coming to this event. What do? One, you must go to that event very early. If the event is starting by 11:30, you should be there by at least 30 minutes before the time, or even 1 hour if you have the luxury of time. When you go there, you look for a very strategic position to sit where the person might likely sit, and where you could easily be seen too, because this thing is all about positioning yourself strategically. You don't go for a networking and you're going to the back seat, like you said, going somewhere to go and hide. How do you expect people will see you? This thing is a game of being seen. You want people to see you want people to know that you are there is someone like you that is existing in that place. So you must be very strategic. You have to go there on time. You have to sit in a very strategic corner where they will see you, not even in a corner, in a place where they could see you. Number three, you have to ask questions, like you said. During the course of that event, you asked a question. Trust me, everyone's eyes will be rolling around like, who is this person? First of all, they want to assess your dressing. That is why even before you go for a networking event, you must learn to dress and look good. Looking good is a good business, like we always say. Trust me, it is a good business. I, for one, I'm a recruitment consultant. I come in contact with people almost every day coming for interviews. And I get turned off when you come to me and you're looking shabby. As a young lady, you're looking for a job, you're coming for an interview and you're wearing slippers. Slippers is a turn off for me already. Like, why on earth would you do that? Why on earth would you wear slippers? And you're wearing a skirt that is not even looking nice. Fine, you could wear skirts. Skirts are nice. I love to wear skirts. But you should wear a nice looking skirt. You should wear a nice looking t-shirt or whatever you have to wear, but make sure it's looking nice. Make sure it's looking nice, because that is what I'm going to assess you based on. I'm not going to be opening your CV yet. Your appearance, first of all, to me, is a CV. So what am I trying to point home at? Be strategic in networking means going early, sitting in a very strategic place, and asking questions. But don't ask foolish questions, anyways, because maybe you feel, oh, I want people to know I'm here. Then you're not going to fool yourself. No, you must ask strategic questions also. Ask questions that pertain to what is happening in that event. Ask questions so that when people hear you talk, they will say, oh, who is this person? I want to go, I want to know more about this person. And before you know it, that contact person whom you are targeting at in that event that you have gone to will begin to pay attention to you. And after the event, you can now boldly walk up to that person and introduce yourself. And in the pace of introducing yourself, you already have an introduction written down. In fact, in that book, Offline Connect by Omobabiri Adeola Osideko, she said, stand before the mirror and rehearse your introduction. There is nothing wrong about it. Because this is, they said, it's called and the elevator pitch. Just few seconds, few minutes, you're done with the elevator pitch. Okay, I was in a training and the trainer was asking, he said, let's assume you are in the same elevator with someone like Dangote now. Dangote. What would you how would you introduce yourself to him in just a few minutes or even a few seconds? So these things have to be, you have to be intentional with these things. If it have to take you to go and do reaxas on your mirror, stand and talk who you are, starting with the problem, like Coach Damilola have said. Start with the problem, then position yourself as the solution, and even go further to now ask, like you just said, do you have anyone who has this problem that I can come up to serve? Eh, it could look, these things could look like, what are they even saying? But these things are the things that are happening now in the world, in the world, in the world where we are now. These things matters a lot. You have to position yourself as a person that knows what he or she is saying and doing. There's something Coach Damilola always puts after all her presentation or after all her contents, especially on your LinkedIn and your. I'm always. In fact, that was one of the things that really, really got me attracted to you. You were so confident about who you are. Trust me, too confident. In fact, that confidence is something that every woman should go and learn. That confidence that makes you want to, put yourself out there to say, this is who I am. I am the clarity queen. Without me, you cannot get this thing done. We all need this level of confidence. And, I must say that it is intentional. You didn't just wake up to do these things. You began to build yourself. And you began to, in fact, for you to even write out that thing is first of all confidence. Some women have these things inside of them, but they are not yet confident to write it out. Let people see it at the end of all your content, everything you do, put it there, let them see. Whoever that is not comfortable with it should go. This is who I am. This is what I stand for. And you're building yourself for it. It's also a way of you building your brand. I hope you know. As in, I'm talking to our audience now. It is a way of you building your brand. Don't be shy of who you are. Put it out there. Put it to their faces and let them see. So that is also a way that we can be able to network. Be intentional about your introduction. Very important. Prepare your elevator pitch. Prepare it down. Have it, memorize it, have it like have it in your head. Let it just be there. So that when people ask you, who are you? It's nice to meet you. What do you do? You begin to dish it out to them. Although not boring them, but you know the right time to say these things. And of course, when you say them, you're positioning yourself as a person of what? A person of value. So that is all I have to say about that.
Thank you so much, Coach Blessing. I really appreciate that. You really threw a lot of light into it. So, lastly, we are just going to be discussing the last thing we are going to be, because we've talked about the mindsets people should have. We've talked about how people should be able to approach others, and we've talked about the elevator page. Okay, when you finally approach somebody, and what would you have to say to the person? So now, lastly, we want to talk about the online presence of everybody in terms of your networking. Most people now, when we network, what I just asked for is, what is your social media handle? Most of the time, that is usually, maybe because I'm a brand coach, I don't know, but I just want to know, okay, what can I do for you? What can you do for me? And I want to understand, what have you done so far, so
So
that I
far,
can
yeah.
understand how far you can
How to
help me.
tap in.
And
Yeah.
the answer to those questions I can get from your online presence, that is your social media
Yes.
handle.
Of course.
But I
Of course.
find out that a lot of people don't pay so much attention to that. When we talk about networking, networking is a very, very important part of branding yourself. You
Of
can't be
course.
able to brand yourself either online or
That network.
offline without you networking. And networking has to do with both online and offline. It's not just offline, and it's not just online. It's the both. Just like myself and Coach Blessing here, we met online.
Yeah,
it wasn't an offline relationship.
connect.
But now we've taken the relationship to the next level. You
Yeah.
understand? So it's people paying attention to their online presence. What do you really have to say about that?
Yes, for me, like we said, networking is not just one-sided. It has to be balanced. We have the physical networking, which is the offline networking, and we also have the online networking. Now, these days, in this contemporary time, people do more of the online networking because the truth is, during the COVID and after the COVID-19 pandemic, it began to open our eyes a lot to see the possibilities in online networking, a lot that we can do.
Mhm.
And that is why, as a networker or as an individual, as an entrepreneur, as a young professional who's trying to build his or her network, you must take the online networking very serious and important. And that is why your online branding must be top notch. Because the truth is, if we have a virtual, maybe a virtual event like what we're having now, a webinar, and at the end of the day, I love the way you spoke. The next thing I'm going to do is to check out your name and go check you out on LinkedIn. Do you understand me? Now, when I go to LinkedIn or go to Instagram or go to Facebook, the first things I want to see your profile. Then I want to see the things that you have been doing. These things that you have spoken about, does it relate with the thing online? Does it relate with your bio? Does it relate with your profile? Or did you just go there to just tell us theory and you're not living this thing in the practical on the online space? So the online is a world on its own too. It means that if I'm telling you that I'm a personal development coach and I just spoke on a webinar relating to that, if you go on my profile, you should be able to see something that relates to personal development. You should be able to see something that relates to all of these things that I'm saying that I've done on that webinar live where you saw me. So offline networking is very important because people want to go to your profile, people want to see what you have done, people want to see what you can do for them also. Because that is where I've had a lot of time where I've gone to some person's profile online just to see if I could bring this person on to speak on my events. And I should be able to say, okay, this person is a life coach, or this person is a personal development coach, or this person is a teens coach. She can talk to teenagers. I've seen a lot of her events. I've seen her in webinars, in online programs, in offline programs, where she organized events, talking to teenagers, talking to children. Yes, she is good and she's an authority in that space. If you do not have anything on your online page, trust me, I may not go further than. I could just say, oh yeah, this person spoke very well. I like what this person did, but that is where it's going to end. Because why? I did not see anything on your social media platform where I can relate further with you. So it is very important that we pay attention to our online networking space, which is our personal branding, because without personal branding, you may not be able to do well with your online networking. So you must pay attention to your personal branding online so that people know that, okay, this person says this is what and what she does. It relates to what she also does online. So for me, there have to be a balance between your personal branding, your online networking, and everything about you.
Right, that's absolutely right. Thank you so much, Blessing, for that. And a lot of people, I don't know why people just leave that area out, because at the end of the day, after you've told me what you do, I need evidence. I
Of
tell people
course.
that social media is the new CV.
Yes, so
If you tell me,
very,
if you
very.
tell me that, okay, you are a speaker, I need to see somewhere you have spoken before. I
Of
need to see a
course.
picture, I need to see a video, or I need to see a flyer of somebody that has invited you to speak somewhere. If I don't see any of these, I will not be convinced enough to invite you to speak somewhere else, because I wouldn't believe that I wouldn't want any disappointment, or I wouldn't want a situation whereby you now get there and you don't deliver. Do you understand? So some of these things that we do is just you telling people what you are capable of. That is basically what personal branding is all about. Although people use it negatively as well. People use it negatively as well, but personal branding is very, very important for you to get opportunities while networking, for you to get opportunities generally. Personal branding is very, very key. It's very, very key. So thank you so much, Coach Blessing. Um, Thank you
Thank you. Thank
for
you.
today. I really enjoyed today's session.
Yes,
Much.
I did. And
I
one
really
more
feel
thing.
all
One more
right.
thing. One more thing I'm going to add for our young networkers, people who are trying to come in to know how these things are being done. Sometimes you need to create the platform for yourself. You don't wait for people
Right.
to always give you the platform. Create
Mhm,
the platform for yourself. I
mhm,
was in a webinar and the lady said that was on the International Day, Women on the Women's Day, which was
mhm,
March, the Women's Month. Yeah, we had a webinar. And the lady said, women, you need to stand up and speak up.
mhm,
Create platforms for yourself. Do not wait for people to always create these platforms for you.
mhm.
Someone like me, like now, we have social media there. Social media there is already enough platform for you to sell
Platform,
yourself.
seriously,
Just sell
seriously.
yourself and let me see what you're doing. And the next thing, I'll bring you on board. I look at you and I see that you're a young lady. You
Mhm,
have something to deliver up there.
mhm,
You
mhm.
know your onion. Why not? We
Right.
collaborate. That is what the collaboration is all about. For this level where we are, we may not be able to go network with the likes of this I'm trying to remember this my woman Awosika. We may not be
Right.
able to get her to speak with us on this platform like this, but we could begin to create our own platforms for ourselves.
Yeah.
And we could
Right.
begin gradually to,
Mhm.
because this thing is a process, it's all about growth. And we begin
Yeah.
to grow to a level where you now see maybe one day Awosika Ibokun could just sit and she just comes in contact with this discussion.
With
I'm like,
the
oh,
this right, right.
what these
That's
people
it.
are doing. Are they
Mhm,
interested to come on board to come and have a
mhm.
talk or a
Right.
podcast with us? Why not? Let's get them on board. This is because we have created a platform for ourselves.
Right.
So stop waiting for people to give you platforms. Get your own microphone. Get your own tripod stand. These things
Mhm.
are now cheap there in the market. Begin to speak. You have something you want to speak to people about. You know you have something up there. Go and do your research. Get all the informations you want to get and begin to dish it out to people. And before you know it, people begin to see you as an authority. They begin to see you as a voice in that field. And they're like,
Yes.
oh, okay, I think I like what this person is doing. And with this being done, you have already created your own platform for
Platform.
yourself.
Right.
And people will now begin to come to your platform to say, oh, please, can we have a podcast with you? Can we
Mhm,
have a talk with you? I love the discussion you had about this. Can we come
mhm.
on board? And this is how these things work. Social media has given us a lot of opportunities. You need to begin to leverage on these opportunities. Even while you're having your 9 to 5 jobs, 9 to 5 job does not stop you from doing whatever you want to do. You
Right.
can do all of these things. I'm in my office and I know, okay, this talk is going to take for maybe 3 hours, and I'm prepared for it. And after that, I'm back to my business. So it doesn't stop you from doing or becoming all that you want to be. As women, we need to step ahead. We need to begin to step ahead. Let's stop seeing ourselves to just be confined in one corner. Begin to speak up. Begin to dish out knowledge to people. Begin to teach people. Begin to train people. What can you do? You can talk. Come out and talk. Come out and speak. Let's have a conversation that people can hear and they'll begin to nod their head and like, oh wow, wow, I've benefited. Coach Dami is doing a whole lot. In fact, every time I'm on my phone, I'm always seeing her YouTube discussions dropping. The YouTube content she's always dropping. It's always popping up. And sometimes I just click and I like, probably I'm doing something, I pause it and I go back to them. But it's always there continuously. So you need to put yourself out to the faces of people and let them keep seeing you. And over time, you begin to grow your network. You begin to
Right.
grow your network. And gradually, I know definitely that as you keep being intentional about these things that you are doing, definitely you will get up there. Thank you.
Right, that is it. She has finished the discussion, right? Thank you so much, Coach Blessing. It's such a
Thank you, Dami.
it's so amazing having you on this platform. Thank you so much for
And
doing
you
this
too.
with me. I really, really appreciate this.
Thank you for
Please, I don't
having
feel
me.
lonely today. I've been feeling lonely all this while, but
Oh my
all
God.
right,
You see, so these are the things that we can do to cure loneliness. These are
right.
the things we can do. Have a conversation
The first
and put
episode,
it out
second
there.
episode was quite lonely for me. Having to not having anybody to discuss with, you just talking to yourself. And
Yeah,
LinkedIn platform is it's quite different from other platforms that you can
yeah.
still see all the discussions and all of that. So it's a bit quite lonely here. But thank you so much for bringing so much life, so much insight, so much motivation, so much value, so
Yeah,
much value into
yeah.
the discussion today. And I can't wait to have you here again next week, same time,
Next week,
1
same
p.m. to 2
time.
p.m. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I love you
Thank
all.
you.
I've got so
We
much
love
love
you
for
all.
you all. Thank you so much. God blessing. I love you too.
Thank you.
Do
Thank
have a
you, Coach Dami. Love
wonderful
you so
day.
much.
Thank you so
And you
much.
too. And you too.
Bye,
And you.
everybody.
Bye.